It's a beautiful day to be at the racetrack, and we are at one of the best in the land. It's Daytona for the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. The first practice of the 2019 season, presented by Toyota. Where have you been? We've missed you. It's been 90 days since we crowned a champion at Homestead Miami Speedway back in November. That is our reigning champion, Brett Moffitt. But he's in a new place. In fact, lots of new faces and new places. Johnny Sauter has gone back to his old home at ThorSport. And who has taken over that championship ride from Brett Moffitt? It's Austin Hill getting the opportunity of his life. And Harrison Burton, one of the young guns, going to run for a championship for Kyle Busch Motorsports. Some great new storylines. Great to have you with us. Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. So thrilled to be back for another season in the Truck Series. Welcome, Gander Outdoors, the new title sponsor. Just one of many new things with the Truck Series this year, and a lot to be excited about, Phil.
It sure is, Vince. You know, normally we have some changes during the offseason, but I don't know that I ever remember us having as many changes as we've had this offseason. As a matter of fact, there's only 5 team, driver, crew chief combinations that are the same as last year, and there they are. You see Jordan Anderson, Todd Gilliland, Stuart Freeze, and Matt Crafton, and Grant Enfinger. Everybody else has had some sort of a change here, but Michael, the good news for this is 9 of our 39 drivers here had experienced last week in the ARCA race, some of them for the first time ever at Daytona.
They got some reps, and that's important. You know what's not new, Phil? You. 17 years we've had the trucks on Fox, and you've been here for every one of those.
Thank
Congratulations. You. Love working alongside of you, but I'm looking forward to Trucks on Track. You talk about changes. You talk about the things that are the same, but this is Daytona, and these guys have been thinking for 90 days, like you said, Vince, about getting out there and feeling what their trucks are going to be like in the draft. There's going to be some differing agendas, I think, in this practice. We're going to see some small packs, maybe one big pack, and guys that are running alone. When I last raced here back in 2011, I didn't want to draft around anybody. I felt like I knew how to draft. I just wanted to make sure my truck felt okay, and when it did, I said check, because we've seen crashes in practice before, and these teams have massaged. They brought the perfect truck to win Daytona, and they want to make sure they take the green flag with it tomorrow night.
Well, as the teams get ready for their first couple of practices of the season, we've got an hour coming up here in just a few moments, and then another hour later this afternoon. And taking care of things down in the garage area, Hermie Sadler and Alan Cavana. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Vince, guys. It is so good to be back in the garage. And let's not forget, when we last left you, Brett Moffitt had a championship trophy and no ride for 2019. Well, all that changed in January when it was announced he would go to GMS Racing for a new ride. He's got a new number, a new truck, a new crew chief, but he is still now the defending Truck Series championship for 2019. For more on the driver he replaced, let's go to my tag team partner, Hermie Sadler.
Well, Alan, the other domino in this situation, Johnny Sauter. Last year, 6 wins, a career season for Johnny Sauter, but he was notified on January the 9th that he was out at GMS. What does he do? He joins ThorSport. He goes back home. He drove for this team from 2009 to 2015. He says he and crew chief Joe Scheer are on a mission in 2019.
Well, you better believe, you got to feel like they've got something to prove. Looking forward to it. Hey, the first practice of the 2019 season is next. Back at Daytona, trucks on the track for the first time this season. The Gander Outdoors Truck Series will race here at Daytona tomorrow night under the lights for the 20th time.
You know, Vince, we talked in the opening about differing agendas, how some trucks would want to be by themselves, like I chose to do when I raced here. Others, they want to feel what the draft is like, and I understand both strategies. And maybe those guys running by themselves, Phil, will just get a feel for their truck, make sure it's traveling okay, there isn't any fender rubs, and then they'll hop in a pack. Hopefully a small pack. I think that's most everybody's goal.
Here's GMS leading this. Stuart Freeze in the 52 and the 24. Brett Moffitt. They decided to go out here with the GMS trucks. And again, that's an association. Halmar basically runs out of GMS's shop. So it's essentially a GMS effort. And they're out here running also with the 87 of Joe Nemechek is behind Brett Moffitt.
There's Matt Crafton in the neon yellow 88, and Johnny Sauter right there behind him. Also the 28 is there as well. It'll be tough to, Brian Doza going to be a little difficult initially for fans maybe to get used, and for us to get used to seeing Johnny Sauter in that 13 truck.
Yeah, at least Brett Moffitt changed the number. He went to the 24 number, which is the number that Justin Haley had so much success with last year. So the 21 that Johnny Sauter has raced for 3 years is no longer. There's not a 21 in the series right now.
Brian Doza, by the way, in that 28, had a couple of starts last season.
You can see how tough it is to pass trucks here at Daytona. Doza is a truck we don't see running that often. He was able to hang with Johnny Sauter for a half a lap there before Sauter could finally clear him. Be interesting to see if Brian can use the draft off of Sauter's truck and pull up and keep up with him.
Brian had a great run at Talladega last year with a top 10 finish in this 28 truck.
On board with Crafton as you get a view back at Johnny Sauter.
How about that sticker on his spoiler, Vince? Ready, set, go. I'm ready to go. Too. The Gander Outdoors Truck Series rolls into Daytona, and the racing is always so intense and so exciting.
I talked to both Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter in the garage here. Remember, they were teammates, and then Johnny left and went to GMS for about 3 years and came back. And they're both really excited about teaming up again. He said we really became better friends after I left ThorSport than we were when I was there. He said we're really looking forward to be teammates now. And the 88 of Matt Crafton is trying to lead Johnny on the outside.
And that 88 team, one of the few that didn't have any changes in terms of the driver, the crew chief, Junior Joyner still there, team with Matt Crafton. One small change, different voice in Matt Crafton's ear. Jason Hidleski, Cup Series spotter, veteran, used to spot for Carl Edwards, will now be in his ear, trying to get Matt Crafton a win here at Daytona this week. So a lot to work on in these two practices. Communication certainly being one of the important things to get used to, guys.
It's interesting, their success, if you look at their success on a graph, Crafton and Sauter, since Johnny Sauter left ThorSport, Crafton won just 3 times. Sauter won 13. So they're hoping that those numbers, that Sauter's appearance back at ThorSport will help lift Matt Crafton, and they'll have equal success, or at least both be successful.
Well, their switch to Ford, Vince, came late last year in the off season, and just another season under their belt with the blue oval on their hoods and the team working with that manufacturer. I'm looking for a lot, especially when you team a couple of veterans like Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton together. I think they can really make a difference.
Well, Sauter arrived at GMS just as that organization was really blossoming, and I think that had a lot to do with Sauter's presence, but undoubtedly GMS, one of the top teams in this series, and other than Kyle Busch Motorsports over the last few years, I really think has been the number 2 series probably, or the number 2 team probably in the entire series. So a little bit of benefit both ways for GMS and Johnny Sauter.
Absolutely, and I was talking to the GMS guys down in the garage area this morning, and I mean, they love Johnny Sauter. They had so much success together. Said it was just a business decision why Johnny now has left the team and has gone back to ThorSport. But they wish him nothing but success, along with Joe Shear, who was over at GMS with Johnny.
And how big is it for Johnny Sauter to have Joe Shear go with him to ThorSport?
I think it's huge, and
yeah.
I think I talked to Johnny actually before Joe had committed. Johnny had already committed to going to ThorSport. Joe hadn't quite committed yet, but he was certainly hoping that he did, and obviously he has. So that's great news for ThorSport and Johnny Sauter and Joe Shear.
Here's Angela Ruck in the 8 out of the Nemechek garage.
That's a good-looking truck,
oh,
isn't it?
It is, and I chatted with Angela about this season, and she said this is a great opportunity for her. She said we had good sponsorship. We wanted a great team under me so I could go out and really show how I can race one of these trucks. She has exactly that in this JJ Resources truck. She's very confident in what she's got, and I'm going to tell you something interesting, Phil. Guess what? She's expecting. She's on baby watch. They're going to adopt.
Okay.
The mother is about
okay.
to have the baby, and her and her husband Mike are getting ready to be proud parents. So she's racing in Daytona and talking closely with the mother of the baby that they're going to adopt.
And Mike is on baby watch, awaiting that call to get on the airplane and go pick up their baby. There's the champ. A little smoke coming up inside the cockpit for Brett Moffitt. Just underway, the first practice of the season at Daytona. spent quite a bit of time in the garage yesterday, and I can tell you, and all you got to do is look at the blue skies, and I can assure you it is a much nicer day today than it was yesterday. Needed the winter coat here yesterday and the shirt sleeves here this afternoon, and it's just an absolutely beautiful day. And as you kind of stroll through the garage, Mike, you made a point during the commercial break. The trucks at the back of the field, the quality of them, it just continues to rise.
Yeah, and this is a team that looks like they've got a much better look this year. 2019, Jordan Anderson, those trucks are being prepared or built at GMS, right, Phil?
Yeah, they have a technical alliance with GMS, and they do their body work.
And so that truck looks faster than it did a year ago. And the truck that Jennifer Jo Cobb has as well. I was seeing some of her social media, and man, it looks like a real racy truck. And we know Jennifer Jo can put it up there in the middle of the lead pack. It's going to be fun to see these drivers that have struggled for funding to get the proper equipment to the track that have been able to accomplish that. Now how they'll be able to perform.
What a great super speedway effort for Jordan Anderson. As you can see right there, one of only 2 drivers with top 10 finishes at both Daytona and Talladega last year.
And I believe that 9th was taken with the tailgate in front of the nose. He went across the start-finish line backwards, but he didn't crash that truck and got a top 10 finish. He said, if I could have kept going straight, I think I could have got a top 5, but I got her crossed up and went across the start-finish line backwards. This is a single truck run that you're seeing here. Jordan's either checking out his travels. You can see the nose maybe a little bit up in the front. Maybe the team will take pictures of that and see if they can adjust. But you just have to have the whole package, and they decided that this is the best way to attack this session, see what their truck will do by itself instead of putting it out there in that big pack.
And remember, we'll have single truck qualifying. We'll have 2 rounds tomorrow afternoon. The top 12 will advance to round number 2 and race for the pole. So they certainly are cognizant of single truck speed here and try to maximize that if they can.
2 sessions today. We've got this session 38 minutes left in this practice, and then we'll take a break for about an hour and come back for a final practice session. And then, as Phil mentioned, qualifying tomorrow afternoon, racing tomorrow night. 100 laps here at Daytona to start the 2019 season.
See the trucks making their way in and out of the garage area. Bit of a trek back to the Truck Series garage. You can see it off to the right on our screen here.
Isn't it great to be in the garage and through the infield? All the folks camping, got their motorhomes, having a good old time, and everybody's so excited in the garage area, whether it's the Cup, Xfinity, Truck Garage. Everyone's excited about being back at the racetrack. Nothing to be mad about yet.
I love strolling the infield, Vince. Last night we had a Fox dinner, and I came back. I just wanted to walk around and see what everybody was up to and spend about an hour walking around talking to the fans. And the thing that I'm most excited about, Vince, is the weather forecast. We're in Daytona for
the rest of the week,
and it's going to be beautiful. Everybody that wants to be here to enjoy NASCAR racing, they're not going to have a thing to worry about.
There's a look at Grant Enfinger, and as you see the numbers, a winner last year at Las Vegas. And we'll check in with Hermie.
Well, Vince, most teams at the end of the season are ready for a break, a time to regroup, get refreshed, but not this 98 team. Jeff Hensley really liked the momentum they had at the end of last year. Listen to this radio between Grant, Jeff Hensley, and the team.
We're about to start the No Excuses, Just Solutions tour today, but yes, sir, I'm going to have to, copyright that. It's a pretty good slogan. Just had a little break since Homestead, but we get back in our groove, pick up where we left off. You guys have done a hell of a job this winter, and we'll take off from here. Go make something of it.
So one of the few teams in the garage that has the driver back, the crew chief back, the sponsor back, and they really are trying to maybe simulate this being a carry-through right from Homestead here to Daytona. And as far as this weekend, they made a single truck run. He said they got a little bit of help, but now they're going back on the racetrack for their first taste of the draft, but a lot of expectations, high expectations on the 98 team heading into Daytona.
They spent much of last year just missing a little bit of speed, and right before the playoffs, I remember Grant telling me if we just had a little more speed, I think that'd get us over the hump from being around the top 5 to being a contender to win, and it sounded like, or it felt like the last month and a half of the season, they found that speed.
Yeah, without a doubt, won the race at Las Vegas, and their last 2 finishes at Phoenix and Homestead, 4th and 2nd. So they definitely had the speed. They didn't want that season to end last year.
Don't you love their attitude, though? Let's go.
There's another one of the Thor Sport trucks. That's the 99 of Ben Rhodes, and you saw just a moment ago the 27 of Myatt Snyder rolling out. Look forward to seeing Rhodes on track for the first time when we come back to Daytona. Gander Outdoors Truck Series. This is Daytona for the 19th year. The championship begins here. It's the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series 2018 season opener.
Pace car is on the pit lane. They are stacked up double wide. Green flag is in the air, and we are off and running. The 2018 season is underway.
Johnny Sauter, the power move to the front and the lead.
Perfect. Go to the box. Stay those two.
Sauter holding back Haley. And Johnny Sauter is going to win the season opener at Daytona.
Yeah! Good job! Good job, guys!
Thank you for joining us. The season opener at Daytona, where Johnny Sauter has put it in victory lane as the winner. What a great way for Johnny to start the season a year ago with that win. He's won 3 of the last 6 here at Daytona, and even though he's with a different team and got a different number, I don't anticipate that the results will finish very much for Johnny Sauter.
Not at all. But what a
Daytona.
career year last year for Johnny Sauter, though, in the Truck Series. But look at those incredible numbers with GMS. 69 starts, 55 of those in the top 10.
There he is working with his crew, trying to enjoy this moment, Phil. They're fastest on the track, and I'm sure Johnny's happy with the way the truck feels. And you know, if you've got a truck that you're able to put at the top of the board and it feels comfortable, that tells you something right off the bat. I'm one of the guys that people are going to want to follow. People are going to want to draft with me. They know I'm an experienced racer. Heck, I've won here 3 times, says Johnny Sauter, and I'm going to go out there and be the fastest truck in town. I'm going to get a lot of drafting help.
And when I leave the garage, they're going to line up behind me, just like we have this pretty good line on pit road here. Not sure if they're waiting to go out to draft or trying to do some single truck runs here.
That looks like a draft.
It does look like a
line
draft.
shaping up there to me. I don't know how many Grant wants. I got plenty. Let's go.
Yeah, what are there, 14 in line there? 13, 14?
Yeah, we're still green right now.
12
the
trucks.
racetrack.
As Todd Gilliland rolls out in the 4. Running the full season for Kyle Busch Motorsports this year after missing the first 4 races last year, or 4 races early on because he wasn't yet 18 years old.
Grant Enfinger might be waiting for a teammate. He's only got about 4 of them. Could be another guy he needs to get in that line and just waiting a bit, but they're starting to creep off pit road.
What a run for Todd Gilliland last week in the ARCA Racing Series. Oh, so close, just narrowly beaten out by his teammate here in the Truck Series, Harrison Burton. Christian Eckes, another one of his teammates, finished 4th.
What about Natalie Decker up in the 6th
Great
position?
run. Yeah.
These are all drivers that will run here in the Truck Series this weekend as well, so pulling a little double duty between ARCA and the Gander Outdoors Series.
Pretty impressive. 7 of our 9 drivers doing double duty finished up in the top 15. It's a nice little draft right here.
It is. See Austin Hills at him sliding out.
Clay Greenfield is 68. Moved up, probably maybe wants to get to the back of this draft.
That's the best way to put up a big speed. Ball to the back, and then you can make that ground up as you draft. But look at that strong move by Matt Crafton. He's able to pull to the outside.
Let's see if he can get a little help up here. It's Brett Moffitt, that blue and white, number 24, that is on his inside. Pretty good forming up here on the outside line. That's the 99 of Ben Rhodes right behind Matt, another teammate. It's Harrison Burton right there, the 18 truck on the inside.
You know, if you watch the Monster Energy cars in the Clash, they ran around the top of the racetrack for a bit. We historically haven't seen that with the trucks. They seem to like that yellow line on the bottom, or certainly the second lane right next to the inside. So the trucks obviously will have a way different aerodynamic hole that they punch in the air. That is most likely the reason why things are different. And we just really haven't seen anyone look to run that upper lane and be successful with it. So it'll be interesting. I know these guys are real students of the game after what they saw in the Clash. Will those trucks move around and maybe wind up top?
Grant Infinger leading the charge in that yellow-black truck. That's Matt Crafton, his ThorSport teammate, right behind him in the neon yellow 88.
I like the moves I'm seeing from Crafton. He's able to pop outside, get a run, and now he was able to push his teammate around Brett Moffitt, and they're taking the lead on the outside.
We talk about Matt Crafton and all the success he's had here in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, and this is not one of the places that he's had a lot of success. Only one top 5 finish here in 18 starts. He always runs well. There's been races he's been leading on the backstretch. Thought he was going to go to victory lane, and it didn't happen for him, but maybe this is going to be the year.
He came off turn 2, and all he could see out his front windshield was racetrack. And the white flag was flying. He said, I got this one, right, Phil?
Yep.
Nah. He got turned around upside down and crashed late in that race. It's been a story of so close but so far for our friend Matt Crafton.
See Stuart Friesen, there he is out there in that Halmar number 52. We talked last year, it was just a matter of time before he got to victory lane. He got awfully close, just never quite did it. I will assure you, Michael, that he will win this year.
I agree 100%, and I will assure you he's going to be thrilling in doing so as well. He puts that truck in some really tight spots and gives it all it's got every lap. I read on his Twitter he was out racing his dirt car last night, and when this practice session, his second practice session's over today, he's heading back to the dirt track to get him some more.
Cody Robaugh on that 9 truck, actually the fastest of the bunch so far in this practice.
Cody,
getting the draft from deep in the field.
One of those guys that ran the ARCA race, finished 7th, which tied his career best in the ARCA Racing Series. Now the ARCA Menards Series. Good news for the ARCA Series.
That's Brett Moffitt in the 24, and the 18 truck is Harrison Burton, and the 51 right behind him, Christian Eckes.
I was just sidebarring with our producer Mark Smith about the best place to be. If I'm Matt Crafton, the best place to be right now is the garage. I've seen enough out of that 88 truck. I think it's really strong, and I see other trucks that can push as well. You see Moffitt up there in the 24 right up front, and every time we talk about this draft, it seems like Stuart Friesen's name comes up as well. So I think these guys have learned enough about their trucks, and maybe time to ease up on the practice maybe.
We got a good look at that 18 of Harrison Burton a moment ago, and Hermie's got more.
Yeah, Vince had a chance to speak to Mike Hillman Jr., the crew chief for young Harrison Burton, and he just had wonderful things to say about Harrison as a young man, as a race car driver, how patient he is, how serious he is about learning this craft, his feedback, putting in time on the simulator, all the things you want a young driver to do. He said Harrison Burton does it to the best of his ability, and he thinks that'll pay off this year. And as far as the truck they're driving, the 18 truck, that is the same truck that David Gilliland sat on the pole with at Talladega last year. So we know that truck has some speed, Alan.
And taking it 3 wide just in front of Harrison Burton is Stuart Friesen. Another one of those teams where the driver, the crew chief, did not change, but yet another spotter change in his ear right now, bringing him through this draft as Stuart Friesen looks strong right now, is Rick Corelli, another veteran Cup Series spotter, won the Daytona 500 just a few years ago with Kurt Busch. So a new driver, a new voice in his ear to learn for Rick Corelli and for Stuart Friesen to start that relationship. Looking good out there right now in this pack, guys.
And the spotter is so important here at Daytona, and getting that comfortable feel between spotter and driver, and even when you bring in the crew chief, I mean, that's a critical dynamic to get right if you're going to be successful.
Yeah, without a doubt. And what a advantage it is to have somebody like a Corelli up on top of the roof doing the spotting for you.
How about Clay Greenfield in that 68 truck going to the top? Getting that draft makes you feel good, doesn't it?
It does, and this is what it's all about here at Daytona. You want to go to the top of the chart. He was able to do just that. There's a nice bump. Is that a bump or a push, Phil?
That was a bump. That was, and you're allowed to do that. You really can't lock on. NASCAR officials will not want you to lock on, but Christian Eckes was just a little bit of a bump right there, and that certainly helps.
Just got to make sure you apply that bumper when the trucks are going straight. They can really get out of shape in a hurry if you don't do it properly.
back on board with Matt Crafton.
Yeah, these guys have done a little bit more drafting than I thought they were going to. I thought they would go out one time maybe in a big pack, and if everything was okay, call it good. But they're doing a lot more drafting, which I like.
It's good for us, that's for sure. Being able to pick out a few trucks that we see do some special things.
What's at the top of your list as a driver for wanting to get accomplished in a practice session like this when you're drafting?
Well, the first thing are your mirrors. You've got to make sure you can see perfectly out of that truck. Vince, you're going to spend more time with your eyeballs looking in that mirror up to the right there in that truck than you are out the windshield. That's how you get runs. That's how you block to get the momentum. And so that's very important. And then secondarily, they've run enough now. They want to make sure their handling's okay. The tires are hot. They're in the heavy pack. There's going to be a lot of moving around. If they're loose here, they know they got some work to do before they go racing tomorrow night.
And they want to know that that truck will pull up to the tailgate of the truck in front of them. With these trucks in such a big hole that they punch in the air, that shouldn't be much of an issue, but obviously you can have trucks that pull up better than others, and looks like right now that 13 truck of Johnny Sauter is pretty darn good. And I read somewhere last week where Johnny said, I have never driven a Ford before. This is the first time, and I asked him about that in the garage area yesterday. He said, I can assure you, I want to win the race, but mostly I want a Ford to win this race tomorrow. I will be lifting a Ford's wheels off the ground trying to help him.
And you know, the interesting thing also, Vince, it looks like they're just running around there wide open, but a good plate racer, he's out there playing with that gas pedal. He's rolling off when he's right in behind another truck and seeing how far he can slip back a couple of truck lengths off the truck ahead of him, put the gas back down, get some momentum from behind, and make those moves, close ground. This is a real practice session here, trying to understand exactly how you can position yourself to make a pass.
But are you surprised they've been out there in the pack as long as they have?
I'm surprised they've been 3 wide some, and I'm surprised they've hung with it this long. Yes, a bit.
Looks like Brett Moffitt is either going to get to the tail end of this draft or maybe pull out of the draft there. I've been really impressed really for a couple years now with that 2-truck Sheldon Creed. First full year over there at GMS, United Rentals on board that blue, black, and white truck. He had such a great run at Homestead, and that's not an easy place to run, but he put that thing right up against the wall and had a top 5 finish there. Our ARCA champion from last year had 4 wins. He's a young man I think we're going to have to keep an eye on this year.
I love you saying that, Phil. I know you're a student of the ARCA series and are able to see these guys where they first come up off the dirt tracks and get on the super speedways, and that Miami track is one that certainly reminds you of a place where a good dirt racer can really shine, and Creed was able to do that.
And he's paired up with crew chief Doug Randolph, who's a good one as well. Just a little over 20 minutes left in the initial practice of the season. Trucks on track at Daytona. A couple of Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks, that 51 of Christian Eckes and the 4 of Todd Gilliland. Austin Wayne Self there in the 22. Self's got a new crew chief this year. Eddie Triconis has gone over and working with that team after spending some time at ThorSport. And prior to ThorSport, he was at Kyle Busch Motorsports, so that'll be a nice shot in the arm for Austin Wayne Self.
Yeah, kind of went back with Wentron Racing with Kevin Sawinski over there, Tim Self, Austin Wayne Self's dad, basically starting a new team. Got a lot of equipment from GMS to start the season. Remember, he was a runner-up finish here a couple years ago in the Daytona race for Austin Wayne Self.
You saw that lineup of Kyle Busch Motorsports drivers there on the left-hand part of the screen there briefly, and Kyle Busch, of course, had his name on that list. He'll run 5 races beginning next week in Atlanta. He'll be in the truck, the 51 truck.
You think he'll be a contender?
I would give him a shot.
Probably.
Yeah, probably throw him in there amongst some of the favorites.
I would think, yeah.
What about our buddies over there at GMS? You talk about the alliances they have all throughout the garage area. Mike Beam's a busy man. Maury Gallagher has just done an awesome job of building an organization that he races his own trucks, but then he supplies parts and pieces to other teams as well. And all those teams are better because of their association with GMS.
Yeah, Nice Motorsports, Ross Chastain running here, along with Timothy Peters. They have an alliance with GMS. That 22 truck we were talking about with the Austin Wayne Self. Jordan Anderson, another one with the 3 trucks. So they mean a lot to the truck series for sure.
First of 2 practices for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series today here at Daytona.
They'll pick with Jeff quite a bit.
Sounds like a little girl. We appreciate that. If it's Jeff Gordon, put the in the wall.
Moments like that just piss me off.
I didn't say that.
Just because you were wrecking me.
He's going to kick Gordon's skinny little ass.
Gordon!
Throughout sport, some rivalries have more juice, and there's never been one that had more juice than Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Gordon.
We're looking forward to that later tonight after the duel. You'll see it on FS1. And always represented the 3 at the racetrack. NASCAR race day at 5:30, and the Gander RV duel at Daytona coming your way at 7 o'clock. Gonna go racing. And then after that, Unrivaled, Earnhardt versus Gordon, 10 o'clock Eastern, all on FS1 later this evening. A couple of new teammates. What is once old is new again, or something along those lines. Johnny Sauter and Matt Crafton, together from 2009 to 2015, and now teammates again at Thor Sport.
And both looking forward to it. I love that.
Good look through the window of the 4 truck of Todd Gilliland, and we are currently under red, as you note there on the upper left-hand portion of the screen, because the other window on the 4 truck came out.
And that's a new one there.
They put that in. Let's check in with Hermie.
Well, Brett Moffitt, he is our defending champion. New team, new truck, new manufacturer. Looks like you're pretty fast, though. How's it transition been from everything that's going on since Homestead to get here? Or better question, how happy are you to just be back on the racetrack racing?
Yeah, I'm super pumped. Everyone here at GMS has welcomed me right in and made the transition super easy. So being with Chevy and the guys at GMS has been awesome so far, and they're always really fast on these speedway races. So it's a big confidence booster to me. This is probably the best speedway truck I've ever driven. It's stable, it's fast, so looking forward to it.
That's Brett Moffitt. He's looking to chase a second championship, Alan.
Then Matt Crafton, Hermie, returned a clean truck to the garage area. Always a good thing. We saw you talking with now your new teammate, Johnny Sauter. What do you talk about after something like that?
I was just talking how our trucks drove and how they were, how they sucked up and how they would lead. This Menard Ford F-150 is probably the best super speedway truck we've had in quite a while. And as you can see, I'd fall to the back and I'd start to go to the front, and I was putting it 3 wide, and I was like, man, I feel like one of these kids right now. I shouldn't be making these moves in practice, but I was just excited to have such a fast truck because I'm our super speedway stuff in the past, just for whatever reason, we always haven't been the best there. And right today we had a really good one, so I was like, I just wanted to stay out there, and the pack kept breaking up. I'm like, man, just keep all together, guys. I'm having fun. And like I said, we have a fast truck, so we're just going to do some qualifying runs next practice and see what happens.
Fast truck, new teammate. Always a good thing for Matt Crafton, guys.
Indeed. And just talking about putting the band back together again, here's a look at Sauter and Crafton and their history together and since.
Yeah, I think we can look for a lot of wins from these two in this season for sure.
They certainly hope so. Well, the veterans going to make a run at a championship, starting it out here at Daytona. Final 10 minutes of the first practice of the season for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Vince Welch from Daytona. Have another practice after an hour break. We'll come back and put forth a second practice session, also here on FS2 later this afternoon. Qualifying and racing tomorrow. There's the 87 of Joe Nemechek and Angela Ruck in the 8, and a good view outside the window of Angela. She's looking at the boss.
I think that's a good plan too. Get Angela a little bit accustomed to running in the draft like this. Go out there with your teammate Joe. You see him pointing to the inside. He's going to want her to go to the inside. Going to let her lead here for a little bit. But I think it's a great way to break her in a little bit with drafting, and maybe go out with a few more trucks in the second practice.
Yeah, the trucks are just different animals. If you hadn't raced a truck at Daytona, it's going to feel wildly different than anything you've ever driven before. And look at Joe's able to pull right on the back of Angela there and give her a nice push. And she's learning. Like I said earlier, you're playing with the throttle. You're making sure you keep your truck perfectly straight. Every lap she makes, she's learning. And Joe, He's won here at Daytona before. He can stay right there behind her and tell her what she needs to do different or better, or how good she is doing.
And he was third in this race last year, the Truck Series event.
Good look at Timothy Peters in the 44, running for Nice Motorsports, and a good story there. The Friends of Jacqueline Foundation on the hood of that truck, and Jacqueline is a cancer survivor, brain tumor survivor, and the Friends of Jacqueline Foundation assists children suffering from pediatric brain tumors, and pairs actually sufferers with college athletic teams to help with their support. So it's great to see the Friends of Jacqueline on the truck of Timothy Peters here today and this weekend.
And great to see Timothy here as well. Such a good plate race, such a great race car driver, but really, really good plate racer. What, he has 4 super speedway wins in his career.
That's the most in all the truck racing on the big tracks, the super speedways here at Daytona and Talladega. So he can get it done behind the wheel wherever we're at. But what a racer he is. I'm going to look forward to watching Myatt Snyder. He got his legs under him at the end of the 2018 season too. Some really strong runs at the end of the year. Got a good looking Louisiana hot sauce truck there.
Rookie of the year in the series.
Bunch of teammates. Heck, he's got it going on.
And another one of the trucks out of the Young's Motorsports camp. That's the 12 of Gus Dean. Jeff Stankiewicz, the crew chief on this truck, and Stankiewicz was the crew chief for Sheldon Creed in the ARCA series last year, and they won a championship. Visited with Jeff yesterday. Really excited to get an opportunity to work with Gus.
Yeah, Gus, a 2-time winner in the ARCA series. He won a short track race up in Elko, Minnesota last year, and he was a winner at Talladega a couple years ago in the ARCA racing series.
The last 5 minutes of practice coming up.
I don't think this bumper's going to match up very well.
The red is out at Daytona. The final few minutes of practice for the NASCAR Gander Outdoors Truck Series. It's Bobby Gerhart, whose truck has come to a stop just before he could make the entrance of pit road. Let's check back downstairs in the garage area with Hermie.
Well, Vince, we got Austin Hill, driver of the 16 truck this year. First of all, congratulations on a big-time opportunity for you. I know you've worked hard for it, earned your spot to be here. So, first practice sessions in the books. What were you able to accomplish with your new team?
Well, right off the truck, we went ahead and did some mock runs. We did 2 mock runs just to see where the truck was at, qualifying speed, and then we went out by ourselves with race pressures, just making sure didn't have any issues, no scraping, anything like that. So it's been a cool experience. These guys are awesome. I've been in the shop a lot working with these guys, so I feel like I already know them. Really glad that Chiba Toyo Pet's on board with us this weekend, and I'm ready to get rolling.
What's the agenda for the second practice?
We're probably going to try to do some drafting, see where we're at, but this is our only Daytona truck. Our backup truck's not good, so we might run 5 or 10 laps with KBN or somebody like that. But other than that, we're just gonna do that and then call it good.
Vince?
Austin finished 11th here last year. Now he's in the Champions truck from a year ago. Some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, but I think you want to put yourself in a position and something that you know has the potential to go to victory lane, and that's what Austin's been working for his entire career. He won a number of times in the K&N series, had some great runs with Tyler Young last year, but found himself in a position now where he knows that truck can go to victory lane and he knows he can win a championship.
And I don't know if he can win exactly with the same flair that Brett Moffitt did. It seemed like every race he won, he made a last lap pass to do so until he got out to, he went out west to Phoenix and dominated. They did the same thing down in Miami to win the championship. So just an awesome year for that team and for Brett Moffitt. And I know if I'm a racer, I'm Austin Hill, I'm like, yes, load me up.
Absolutely.
I want the pressure. I want the same team that won the championship because I believe I have the talent to do the same thing.
Moffitt 9th quickest so far in this practice, and Austin Hill, as you heard him visit with Hermie, pretty pleased with the way they have run so far, but just 9 laps in practice, 21st on the speed chart.
What about David Gilliland and Fred's truck there, the 17?
And Natalie Decker in the 54, a couple of the DGR Crossley machines.
Same situation or similar situation with Joe Nemechek and Angela Ruck. Now, Natalie has a little more experience. Obviously, she's run the ARCA race here the last 2 years, and with great runs to finish 5th after sitting on the pole last year and 6th this year.
Yeah, great run last week in that ARCA car. But today, Phil, all about learning for Natalie Decker. You can see she's right behind teammate and truck owner David Gilliland. And the learning started right away. Before she even hit the track, she radioed in and said, hey, my brakes are a lot softer than the ARCA car last week. Is that how it's supposed to be? That's a lot of the conversation that's been on the radio so far throughout this first practice. Should it be this way? What should it be? And the communication, they're just trying to translate, learn each other, and try to get her as comfortable as possible. You saw just getting that little bit of practice behind David Gilliland will help her throughout this weekend, throughout the next practice as well. As we see the flags coming out for the end of practice, Natalie Decker just trying to get as much experience as possible while she can, guys.
And Alan, running behind David Gilliland's a good place to be. He sat on the pole and led 30 laps here a year ago, and obviously a very talented racer. It's so cool to see these veterans taking the kids to school.
Clay Greenfield tops the first practice of the season. Whether you caught a draft or not, you're darn happy to have your name atop the board at the end of practice. Clay Greenfield, fastest in the first practice session of the season, and get a little snack, the snack of champions, Doritos. Yeah. You can splurge every now and then.
How about the leaderboard there? Cody Robaugh with a great run in 2nd. Austin Terrio in 3rd, and Ricky Benton's number 92.
And if you're worried about your driver and he's back on this page, don't worry. Timothy Peters can win this race. We can see Austin Hill charge to the front. Spencer Boyd might be a contender as well.
The 39 that got out on track.
Here he is.
The 92 of Austin Terrio. Well done.
Austin Terrio, former ARCA Series winner here back in 2017, as well as a champion that year.
Would you say some high fives for those teams to put their trucks right up at the top of the board?
We talk about the field and how that was a great looking truck right there, Michael.
We're going to take a break for about an hour and come back for final practice at 4:30 Eastern from the World Center of Racing, Daytona.